Okay, I think we can start the session now. So I welcome all of you to Sutta teaching session. So we are taking several suttas for discussion, and we are trying to get some insights from those suttas to our practice. And we have already discussed Sabbasava Sutta and the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. Now we are discussing Mulapariyaya Sutta. So Mulapariyaya Sutta is the first sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, comes in the first book, and there Buddha is talking about the root of all things. So basically how we are thinking about various things that we are encounter. So this is not only limited to the human, but the whole human world, the animal realms, and even the Deva realms, Brahma realms. To everywhere we can apply this methodology, where Buddha, by seeing everything through his omniscient knowledge, now he is giving the complete picture of how worldly beings are seeing the experience, and how a trainee, a Seka Puggala, is interpreting the experience, and on the other hand, how an Arahant and a Buddha is interpreting the encountered experience. So there Buddha is taking 24 samples, so what we can see as sort of a cross section of the whole universe, covering almost all the aspects. Say for example, in order to cover the complete physical world, all the physical aspects, so he has taken earth, water, fire and air. So those are the 4 elements, as we all know. And by taking all those 4, which represents the whole physical experience, and then by taking beings into account, so that indicates all the hell realm beings, human beings, and those are included in the category of beings. And then there are other sections, that is gods. So that is where celestial beings are considered. All the 6 celestial realms are considered there. And when we are discussing under the gods, so whoever going through such a celestial realm experience, how he is perceiving the world. And then by taking Pajapati, which represents the creator god according to the Brahmanism, so how Pajapati is sort of perceived by a typical person, by a trainee, by a Buddha, or by an Arahant. And then Brahma. So there are several Brahma realms available. So by taking Brahma, so how Brahma realm experience would be perceived by a typical worldly person, by a Seka, and by an Arahant. And in the Brahma realms, there are several what you call different levels. So I have explained them here. The first jhana related to 3 Brahma realms, and second jhana related to 3 Brahma realms, and third jhana related to 3 Brahma realms. And then there are 2 Brahma realms relevant to the 2 plus 5 Brahma realms relevant to the 4th jhana, and all are sort of how one may pursue such Brahma realm. So if someone is asking about Vehappala, so what would be the idea? What would be the perception about such Brahma realm to a worldly being, typical worldly being, and to a Seka, that's a trainee, and to a Arahant, and to the Buddha. So and then ultimately go on to the 4 immaterial Brahma realms, and what is the perception about those. And then the typical experience, typical seen, heard, sensed, cognized, Ditta, Sutta, Mutta, Viññāta. So those 4, how one may experience and how one may interpret it. And then there are 2 more, unity, diversity and all. So those are another sort of philosophical aspects, how people can sort of interpret the whole experience. And say according to the Brahmanism, Hinduism, So they consider that they can united with the Brahma once they say attain whatever their goal, and they therefore interpret it as kind of a unity, kind of a unification, kind of a unity. So what is the perception about unity in a worldly person's mind, in a trainee's mind, and in an arahant mind? What is the perception about diversity in a worldly person's mind, in a trainee's mind, and in a arahant's mind? And what's the perception about everything, all, in a worldly person's mind, in a trainee's mind, and in an arahant's mind? And then Buddha beautifully taken Nibbana also into the account. So how a worldly being would perceive about Nibbana? So what is his interpretation? What is his idea about Nibbana? And then what is the idea about Nibbana in a trainee's mind, Seka Puggala's mind? And what is the idea about Nibbana in an Arahant's mind and in a Buddha's mind? So therefore, by taking all these 24 concepts, we can fairly say that the whole universe is covered here, and according to one's understanding, what is the interpretation one may be giving to these, or how one may perceive all these. So we discussed how a typical worldly being is perceiving those. Say for example, he is having a lot of preconceived ideas, his mind is fairly conditioned, he has never heard about Buddha's teaching, and he has never practiced. So basically he recognized typical Patavi Dhatu as Patavi Dhatu. So here Patavi Dhatu can represent any physical solid component. A chair, a table, so many, or everywhere the hardness, softness, heaviness, lightness, and gross roughness are available. So that where we can say Patavi Dhatu, earth element is present. So any component consisting Patavi Dhatu, what is the interpretation? Say for example, a worldly being seeing a chair. So immediately he may recognize it as a chair. So we can feel that it is true, but his cognition is that's all. Basically he has learned this is a chair. He has learned that from others. So this is a name given to this kind of a thing. And as a result, when he see a chair, he can distinguish it from a table. So he recognizes this as a chair. But on the other hand, there are a lot of preconceived ideas in his mind. So he has the permanent notion, and he has sort of a satisfactory notion. He expects certain satisfaction from it, and he thinks it can be possessed, and he can possess it. So likewise, there are so many relationships can be built up with the chair. So he is in a sort of a confused mind, sort of a conditioned mind, entangled mind, and once he sees a chair, accordingly he can get a lot of thoughts in his mind. So accordingly he is thinking. He may be want to have a chair, he want to get rid of the chair, he likes chair, he dislikes chair, or he may say that I am sitting on the chair. So likewise he has the personality view, and by including his personality view to the whole experience, he is interpreting this, he is perceiving it. So similarly, all the other concepts what we have discussed about 24, that is how he is perceiving. Say for example, Nibbana. How a worldly being, typical person would say about Nibbana. He might think, okay, it is something that we can attain after the death, and we can do various meritorious deeds, then we can attain Nibbana. And Nibbana is another realm. It is a beautiful place. There is no birth there, so I can be reborn there. So likewise, there may be various thoughts about Nibbana, and accordingly he perceives Nibbana. When someone is telling about Nibbana, when say a monk is talking about Nibbana, when he saw the word Nibbana in a Dhamma book, So he may have a sort of an idea about Nibbana. So this is the sort of a perception he has. Say when he's seen something, bitter. Suppose he is seeing a tree. Similarly, he may immediately recognize this is a tree. So his conditioned mind will say, okay, this is a good tree, this is a bad tree, this is a weak tree, this is an expensive tree, I can cut it and sell it and get a lot of money, or this belongs to someone else, this belongs to me. Likewise, there are so many relationships built up in his mind, and accordingly he thinks about the tree. So likewise, we can understand all these different perceptions one can have. Then we get on to the view of a trainee. So here he has tried to directly experience the world. So basically he has taken some things into account, and he has meditated and had some direct experience about the physical experience. Say for example, he has gone through elements meditation, where he can directly experience the elements. He can understand the element characteristics, and more he experienced that. So now, instead of putting so much of book knowledge into it, so much of derived knowledge to it, he now tries to directly feel it, directly experience it. So this direct experience and typical learned experience is quite different. The learning or getting someone else's knowledge, hearing, borrowing that knowledge, basically is limited to the surface of the mind. We can say it's a sort of superficial. But on the other hand, if someone can directly experience something, then it is his own knowledge. Say for example, if you consider an apple, so someone can tell a lot of things, lot of information about an apple. So what are the ingredients in an apple? So what are the elements inside the apple? What is the taste of it? And what is the diameter of it? What is the weight of it? And one can even write a book about an apple. So another person, say, read that book. So he also understand, okay, apple is this size, is a fruit, and these are the ingredients, and likewise he can remember everything, and he can even teach to another person. But he has never eaten an apple. He has never tasted an apple. But direct experience is where he directly eat an apple and he really experience it. He really taste it. Now he know in and out of it. Now he has his own knowledge about an apple. Rather than borrowing it from someone, now he himself has a direct experience about an apple. So similarly, the Seka Puggala is trying to have a direct experience about some selected phenomena. And say for example, if we consider the physical phenomena, we can say the Rupakkhandha, the materiality aspect. So he is taking various elements to the consideration, and as a result, while walking he can experience various elements, how the elements are manifesting. While sitting, he can experience the manifestation of various elements. He directly perceives them. He directly understands them. So similarly, we can go to other elements, water element, fire element, air element. So likewise, more and more he experiences directly, then he will understand, free from all the concepts, free from all the preconceived ideas, free from all the book knowledge. He now has his own knowledge, all own experience about these four elements. So that is fairly convincing him that his body is containing these four elements, and the outside also has nothing but these four elements. So likewise, his experience, his knowledge is increasing, and this is we call a kind of a meditative knowledge, experiential knowledge. And suppose he is developing such idea for long, sort of such understanding for a long time, and once it is coming to a sort of a culmination, his mind sort of dispassionate about this whole experience, because he understands the impermanent nature of this and the unsatisfactory nature of it, and the non-governability, cannot govern it, cannot control this whole experience. So there are various causes and conditions are preparing it or causing it to come into the being, and I have no control on this. So therefore his mind is now detached from this Patavi Apo Tejo Vayu. So this detachment leads to another relinquishment level where he is able to relinquish everything and his mind become free. So now he perceives, or rather now he experiences the sort of a free mind, freedom of mind, and say detached mind, mind free from craving, a sort of a simplified mind, unconditioned mind, unbounded mind. So likewise he as a Sekapuggala has another dimension available to him. Now he is trying to train himself further in this insight. So therefore when it comes to the higher training, again and again he is reminding himself. Whenever mind get caught into the experience, he is reminding himself, don't get caught. Try to detach. This is impermanent. This is unsatisfactory. It is not under your control. So again and again he is advising himself and trying to release the mind, relinquish the mind, maintain a free mind, an unattached mind, unentangled mind, undefiled mind. So basically his whole training is to maximize this unattached mind, or sort of an unentangled mind. So again and again he has to practice it, because not yet he has come to the completion of it. Time to time he may also get caught. So therefore Buddha very beautifully mentions it. They are having known directly earth as earth, he should not conceive himself as earth. Now he has a sort of a way of living, he has a training to live, to practically do, where whenever his mind gets caught, he has to release it, he has to free it. So Mamanyi, the term Mamanyi represents that is a sort of advice. Again and again he is giving to himself, don't get caught up with this experience, don't get entangled in this experience, don't try to own it, don't try to make a self out of it. So likewise he is training himself. So we discussed this also, and then we now come to the last one, that is the view of an Arahant. So Arahant basically has completed this training. Now if we are talking about the trainee's experience, where every time he is trying to sort of train his mind not to get caught, not to get entangled. Now suppose someone has done it for a long time, practically did his job, therefore he can be completely free. So this is the view of an Arahant. The Arahant's mind completely taints destroyed. All the taints, all the fetters, defilements are all destroyed. And he has lived the holy life. He has completed the job. He practically has lived the holy life and done what had to be done. He has completed the job. So the trainee has a lot of things to do, because not yet his mind is completely free. But the Arahant has fulfilled that. Arahant has come to the completion of that. Now he has basically done the job, laid down the burden. So he has no self-view, there is no any kind of a misunderstanding. So basically his mind is light. He has put away the burden and reached his own goal. He has reached the goal and destroyed the fetters of being, and again coming to the being, thinking about a future life, expecting another life. So those kind of a bhavatanha, desire to be, desire to become, has completely destroyed. And then completely liberated through final knowledge. So his mind is completely liberated. Now his mind does not go and attach with something, does not go and entangle with something. So his mind is utterly free. So there are very beautiful terms in Pali. Kīnāsavo usitavā katakaraniyo ohita bharo anupatta sadatto parikkena bhava sangyojano sammadanya vimutto. I mean, the English meanings are here and the Pali terms are here. So now suppose he too see a chair. Now what happens? Basically he also can recognize in the conventional terms this is a chair. It is not impossible for him because he is now still living in this world, conventional world, human world, or whatever the celestial world, Brahma realm. So he also, when someone is giving something or someone is offering a chair, so he can clearly recognize this is a chair. But he has a direct knowledge already completed within him. Therefore he understands this chair in a quite different manner. He understands quite well that the people are calling this instrument as a chair, this component as a chair, but inherently there is nothing inside. There is nothing substantial inside. It's simply a convention when various parts are get together and combined, assembled in a particular fashion. We are giving a name called chair. So he has this deep understanding in him. So therefore he never get entangled. He never want to get attached to the typical conventional level labels, because he know very well this is simply a convention. This is simply a name given as a chair. So he can call it a chair so that he can communicate with others. But deeply he understands this is nothing but four elements. So basically he has completed. Patavim patavito abhijanati. He has directly experienced the whole thing. And the term here is na manyati. He never and he doesn't want to do any conceiving. There is no I component inside him. There is no self-view. There is no sakkaya ditthi. And there is no asmimana, self-view. Therefore, his understanding is free from any self-view. He is not doing any conceiving, sort of an I-centered conceiving, I-centered thinking is no more. So, for the trainee it is ma-manyi. For the trainee the term is ma-manyi. So, he is basically advising himself, don't get entangled, don't get deluded. So, likewise he is sort of still training himself. But here training has completed, so his mind is na manyati. His mind now naturally does not go and do any conceiving. Now there is no any huge relationship between him and the object, because he is quite detached from this whole experience. Even though he may receive a chair, he may receive a table or whatever it is, he is quite detached. He has no any sort of possessive thoughts that I want it, I want to have it, this is my chair, so likewise. But on the other hand, someone might ask a question, then how someone is talking. Now even the Buddha can say, okay, this is my robe, so I can offer it to you. Say for example, that's a beautiful incident between Buddha and the Venerable Mahakassapa. So Buddha wants to exchange robes between Mahakassapa. And then at that time Buddha says, this is my robe, it is quite old, and if you like, you can wear it and you can offer your one to me. So basically Buddha wants to encourage him for the austere practices. So as a sort of encouragement, Buddha wants to give his own robe to him. Now at that time probably Buddha has referred his robe as my robe. But that is only at the conventional level. So therefore, even though they are using the typical worldly languages, they never grasp it. They never want to sort of grasp it. They never want to hold it strongly, thinking this is the truth. But rather they know this is simply a tool using to communicate with others. Therefore, all the other experience are all does not conceive. So he doesn't want to train himself further, but he has completed the training. So therefore, he does not conceive any of these experiences. So rather he can keep his mind undisturbed. So if you can remember the Buddha's advice to Venerable Bahya, Daruchirya, Ditte Dittamatam Bhavisati. When he's seeing something, Buddha says, just be onto the seeing. When he hears something, just stop at hearing. When he senses something, just stop at sensing. And whenever a thought comes into the mind, just know it. Don't go and proliferate on it. Don't go and conceive on it. Rather, you simply recognize this is as a thought. So basically, when we can consider here, seeing, heard, sensed and cognized. So Buddha also has seen many things, and he too has heard many things, and he too has sensed many things. And there may be even thoughts come to his mind. He may be even thinking. But he is not entangled. His mind is sort of unshaken. His mind does not go and mix with these experiences. So likewise, even with the Nibbana. So that's the beauty here in this sutta. Even the Nibbana is included in this 24 concepts. So therefore, Buddha doesn't go and get entangled in Nibbana, but rather he may has his proper understanding about Nibbana. He has attained Nibbana. And there's a beautiful explanation given here. So how an Arahant is doing this? Why is that? How he could be able to maintain this kind of a detached experience? And there, because he has fully understood it, Buddha says, Pariññātaṃ tassāti vada. He has fully understood it. He has completed the understanding. Now there is nothing to get deluded, because he has completely understood. Completely understood the impermanent nature, completely understood the unsatisfactory nature, completely understood the non-self nature. As a result, his mind does not go and attach, does not go and hold, does not go and grasp, does not go and try to possess. Rather, his mind utterly freed and liberated, and can maintain in that liberation forever. So it is not like a training. For training, say for example, there may be certain times that his mind is liberated, but there may be other times his mind still go and grasp. So that's why he has to train his mind again and again. But the Arahant has completed the training, so his mind is utterly free. Now there are other explanations also given. That is, the other explanation is his mind is now free from lust, free from any greed. So that lust, greed, craving is completely uprooted. So that is why he is able to maintain such a detached experience. And then, because he is free from hate, through the destruction of hate. It is not temporarily he has subsided hate, but rather his mind is completely free from hate. Dosakkaya. He has uprooted hate. And he has uprooted delusion as well. His mind is free from delusion, free from moha. So ragakkaya, dosakkaya, mohakkaya. In other terms are a word for Nibbana. So Nibbana can be defined as ragakkaya, dosakkaya, mohakkaya. Complete destruction of lust, greed, complete destruction of hate, complete destruction of delusion. So when an Arahant has completely destructed this raga, dosa, moha, so there is no possibility of go and get entangled again. Suppose he is seeing a beautiful mansion, but still his mind does not go and get entangled in it, because he has uprooted craving, uprooted greed. So his mind is utterly free. So he is enjoying such a liberated mind. So if we consider various other concepts, so that's why we can say he does not crave for another future birth. Say for example, if a typical worldly beings, they may be doing a lot of meritorious deeds, thinking to become a celestial being, a future god. say suppose someone is doing a lot of dana, offering say material things, he may be wishing to become a god, wishing to become a deva. But there is no such thing in Arahant's mind, because he know it is also conditioned. He know it is also unsatisfactory. He know it is also impermanent. It's a temporary existence, and there is no complete satisfaction there, complete liberation there. So therefore he has uprooted the bhavatanha, the desire to become. So his life completely ends during this life. So Arahant's view is quite different when compared to the worldly being, and again when compared to the training. And then this sutta included the view of the Buddha. Actually, view of the Buddha and the view of the Arahant are identical. There is no difference. So only thing is, Buddha has the complete knowledge and in and out knowledge. Arahant may have complete knowledge which is sufficient to completely liberate the mind. And Buddha also has liberated the mind, but he has the complete knowledge, which there is nothing left. So he has the omniscient knowledge. Say for example, there may be Arahants who doesn't know about certain other subjects, because he has mastered only to the level he is able to completely free his mind, completely take the mind to an undefiled level. There may be certain things he doesn't know. But on the other hand, the Buddha knew everything. So that's why we call him Sarvanya, where he has the omniscient knowledge. There is nothing hidden from him. Whenever he wants to understand about something, immediately the knowledge is with him. So therefore Buddha has an omniscient knowledge. So that's the only difference. Other than that, when compared to the experience is identical. Buddha's experience and the Arahant's experience are identical. So that is why here he does not conceive himself in earth. So the same thing. He does not conceive himself in earth. And then he does not conceive himself apart from earth. He does not conceive earth to be mine. He does not delight in earth. So these are the same terms used here. He does not delight in earth. He does not conceive earth to be mine. So likewise the same experience is there to an Arahant as well as to the Buddha. And the speciality with the Buddha is that he is an Arahant Samma Sambuddho. He has self-liberated. He understood the whole thing by himself, not with the help of another person. Rather, he himself has enlightened. So that is the difference. And he has fully understood it to the end. He knows in and out of everything. And then he also never go and cling to anything, because he know the Nandi that is getting delighted. He's sort of a cause of suffering. And this is causing for rebirth. And then another future births and everything. So basically the same understanding as an Arahant, Buddha also has the same understanding. And Nandi Dukkhassa Mulanta iti viditva bhava jati bhutassa jaramarananti tasmatiha bhikkave tathagato sabbaso tanhanang khaya viraga nirodha chaga padinissagga anuttarang samma sambodhin abhisambuddhoti vadami. So basically explanation is given about Buddha's understanding, where he has completely understood everything, and he has recognized the craving as one root cause of all suffering. Therefore he has completely uprooted craving, tanhakkaya, completely removed craving. And the sort of craving has given up, craving has let go of. And now his mind is liberated, and he has the complete knowledge, omniscient knowledge. So therefore he never go and entangle with anything. As I mentioned, he too may refer a language. He may too use a language for communication. So Buddha, as you know, has taught basically 45 years, so he has used a language. He has preached Dhamma. So there also he has used a lot of mundane terms and referred himself as I, me, but that is merely for the convention, merely for the communication. He knows the limitations of the communication, he knows the limitations of the languages, and he never go and fight with another person just because of this language. Because he knows the limitation. Language is just as a tool. So sometimes it is said that it is like a children's play, because he knows it is only a tool just to communicate with others and nothing to grasp. And there is a beautiful verse. Someone has come and asked from the Buddha that an Arahant also sometimes refer, I am preaching Dhamma, someone else has taught me Dhamma. So likewise the term me and I, still he is using. Why is that? Then Buddha very beautifully mentioned, he is very skillful in this language, he is very skillful in this communication, and he, knowing it properly, he is using it just for the mere communication. There is no grasping. Kīnāsavo antima deha dāhri aham vadanti tipi so vadeya mamang vadanti tipi so vadeya loke samanya kusalo viditva vohara mattena so vohareya. So this is the answer Buddha has given. So this the Arahant who has completely uprooted craving and completely uprooted all taints also refer himself as I am talking, and sometimes he might tell he told to me. So likewise he also used the terms in the language. Loke samanya kusalo viditva. He has very well understood the loka samanya, the worldly convention. Vohara mattena yo vohareya. And by understanding that worldly convention as convention, he skillfully uses it as a mere tool of communication. That's all, nothing else. He never go and fight with another person, he never go and entangle in this language, he never go and sort of possess it, rather he skillfully uses it. So that's why Buddha and the Arahants have preached Dhamma, have dealt with other people, have moved with other people, communicated with other people without any conflict. So they are free from conflicts because they know language is merely a tool. So basically with that actually I can conclude this sermon because now I have covered the complete whole section of Mulapariyaya Sutta. So I like to open the session for questions since we are now completing the Sutta. I think we have, this is the third or fourth session we covered taking this Mulapariyaya Sutta as the topic. So now I open the session for questions. So if you have any question related to today's teaching, or if you have questions related to this whole Sutta, or any other doubt, we can discuss.
Thank you, Bhante.
So today Jennifer has taken a leave, so she has informed that she is going for a retreat. Now Priyanka has taken the chair today. So Priyanka is the chairman. So are there any questions from Priyanka?
Yeah, I don't have any questions,
Good,
but
good.
I am open. Anyone, if you have any question, you can raise your hand. Yes. Chitra Devi, you can talk.
You can
Unmute your mic and talk.
Thank you very much. Bhante, so as we are now obviously listening to the Dhamma and wanting and listening to this particular sutta because we also want to sort of walk further on this path, and you did give us some examples of how to look in that direction. So as normally people, should we be looking at objects like the chairs and tables and trying to work it out in our mind that these are also elements, and just like the elements in our body, and in the same way you suggested, I mean, will that help us to go forward? I mean, yeah, of course, we did mention last time that a lot of it we have to meditate and get that realization through meditation, but also during just our daily life, should we be doing those things and looking at it in a different way?
Yeah, basically, you can get some knowledge through the books, but as I said, it is only at the superficial level, and it may not be sufficient enough to completely free the mind. So you have to learn Dhamma, but the important thing is to practice. So then only it becomes a direct knowledge. As I mentioned, you can learn about Patavi Dhatu, the earth element, what are the characteristics of earth element, what are the characteristics of water element, air element, fire element, etc. But you yourself have to really experience that. I mean, it is not a difficult thing either. Say, for example, while walking, you can really experience the hardness, softness, and all these various characteristics. Now you are directly experiencing without putting any borrowed knowledge into it. Without putting any book knowledge into it, now you are keeping the mind utterly quiet and well focused, and now you are trying to directly connect with this experience. Then only it becomes your own knowledge. Then only you can directly say, okay, I have experienced it. And more you experience it, you are able to distinctly recognize them. So that's why, I mean, the whole practice is sort of designed in that manner. So first of all, one has to take your mind to the present moment, free from the past and free from the future, and taking it to the present moment. And then the present moment experience is maintained for quite a while, not momentary, say for a considerable period of time, say 15 minutes, half an hour, likewise, trying to keep the attention in the present moment experience. Say, for example, now he is able to walk, and during the whole walking, his mind is well connected with the bodily experience. Does not go for any proliferation, does not go to the past and the future. I mean, time to time can go, but most of the time, he is with the present moment experience. And afterwards, he has to now distinctly recognize this present moment experience. Just mere superficial being in the present moment is not also sufficient. He now has to distinctly recognize what are the characteristics available. How I can recognize hardness from softness. How I can recognize hardness distinctly from the heat, from the cold. So likewise, he is now trying to clearly see. So that is where the sampajanya, clear comprehension, come into the picture. So he now clearly recognizes this direct experience. So more and more he does that, basically he may automatically switch to the common characteristics. So previously we are recognizing the individual characteristics, what we call as pachatta lakkana, and then automatically more and more we experience that, more and more we observe that, automatically one's mind will be uplifted to the common characteristics, samanya lakkana. So these common characteristics are that you will understand all these are conditioned, everything is happening due to causes and conditions, and they are all subjected to the impermanence, everything is unsatisfactory, you can't have any control over them. So likewise, sort of a clear understanding about this whole experience is further improved in his mind. So this will lead to a dispassion, this will lead to a non-grasping of the mind. And suppose at a given time, when this understanding comes to a culmination, to his maturity, then at such moment the complete grasping may be given up. Now the mind is free. So this is how the whole Buddha's practice is fairly designed, fairly sort of ordered, And and then he has experienced this freedom, but yet it is not complete. So this is why this is where the trainee, he has some time to time he is able to free his mind, but when his concentration become weak, when his mindfulness become weak, when his wisdom become weak, again mind go and grasp. Now he has to train further. So that is why the Noble Eightfold Path is there. So he has to practice according to a given methodology. And more and more he practice, then sort of more and more time he can maintain his mind free. And there, so he can actually use that previous experience, or he can use that previous insights to remind him. Say for example, he is now really experienced the impermanent nature of these elements, but time to time the mind has forgotten it. That's why he gone and grasped. At that time he remind himself, don't conceive, don't think that it is permanent, don't think it will give you lasting happiness, don't think it will be under your control. So likewise he has to remind him. He has to again and again recall the experience. He has again and again recall the insight. Then only it becomes further reinforced. And recalling is one aspect, and on the other hand, more and more he can experience. Again and again the mind go and grasp. At that time he simply understand the impermanent nature, then and there. So the understanding become wider and wider, deeper and deeper. So this is how we can say a trainee may further enhance his insights.
So Bhante, from what I'm understanding, it's a lot of meditation really, stilling the mind initially and then training the mind to understand this phenomena as you experience it yourself. Isn't that right?
Yes, sure, definitely. So that's why Buddha mentioned 3 types of knowledge. Suttameya Panya, Chintameya Panya, and the Bhavanameya Panya. Suttameya Panya is where you hear the Dhamma. So you learn the Dhamma, you hear Dhamma, so you get some understanding. So it is sort of simply the book knowledge. And then you think about it, you contemplate about it, you rationalize about it. So that is still on the surface level, but more deeper. So you are now getting convinced. Okay, it may be true, it may be true. So likewise, sort of a convincing happens inside. Now you have a sort of invitation coming from yourself. Why don't you practice it? Why don't you yourself try to experience it? Now, say for someone, Buddha or his disciple is talking about various insights, but you never have experienced them. Now, kind of an inner invitation coming from yourself. Okay, why don't I put myself into the practice? Now there is a beautiful term coming in Dhamma, Paccattam Veditabbo Vinyohi. So the one has to experience it by oneself. Till that it becomes someone else's. It's someone else's borrowed knowledge. So one has to experience it oneself. And now he is putting himself into the practice, and then he may get further convinced, because now he doesn't need to simply believe it. Rather, he himself has experienced it.
Yes, Bhante, thank you. Yes, the main thing is to experience, then you can project it to daily living as well, but one has to experience it in meditation.
True, that's right. So later, actually, you can use your own experience, sort of what you call inferentially as well. To the other outside experiences, you can use it inferentially.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Bhante, there's a question in Zoom chat. Shall I read it?
Sure.
Ma-minding or considering and claiming things as me or mine. Please describe with a few examples how a lay person who is a dedicated practitioner can apply the principle in a deep practice-oriented way, and how me-mind can be relinquished eventually.
Yeah, that's why
That's all.
Yeah. So basically, that's the whole practice where you are, while in the practice, you are looking at your mind. Basically, we have to get into the Chittanupassana level where you are now observing the mind. How mind go and grasp. And when mind go and grasp, so now there are many techniques Buddha has taught. Probably you can recognize you were in some peaceful state, unentangled state. Now again mind become entangled. Now sort of a little confusion has arisen, a little suffering has arisen, a little sort of entanglement has happened. Now you have lost the freedom. So once you know that, now you yourself have to know it. That is why the dukkha has to be pariññātaṃ. The suffering has to be well known, well understood. Then only one can be free from it. So you were in a comparatively free from suffering. Mind was in a very peaceful state. But unfortunately, again mind get entangled. Again mind go and grasp. Now you need to understand the suffering. Now you need to understand the frustration. Now you know to understand the entanglement, sort of a burden, again available in the mind. Now you are fully understanding how I have lost the freedom, how the freedom of mind has gone. Again mind little sort of cluttered. Again mind become entangled. Again mind become colored. Now you have to sort of appreciate the previous freedom, the previous unentangled state of mind. So that's why Buddha very clearly mentioned etang santang etam panitang yadidang upekha. If you refer in Indriya Bhavana Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, so Buddha says if someone has seen something, so as a result of grasping, his mind become again sort of delighted. Or again, since he sort of hate that experience, he become again sort of hateful. So this kind of manapa, amanapa, this either desirable or hateful experience can again occur in the mind, again arise in the mind. At that time, one has to return back to this previous upekha, previous equanimity, which is free from that entanglement, which is free from that grasping. So there are actually Buddha give various techniques, so one can understand the gross nature of this entanglement. Previously that non-grasping, peaceful state of mind is fairly simple, fairly no burden there. But now the grasping state of mind is very heavy, sort of appear like burdened, and you feel gross. The mind was very simple, simplified, but now it becomes fairly complicated, fairly cluttered. So you can compare the two states. As a result, you give up this entangled state, complicated state, confused state, and you go back and re-establish yourself in that free state. And Buddha says you can look at it in a sankhata, where this new state, grasping state, is conditioned, is prepared. Your mind has now colored, your mind has now changed, your mind has now sort of fabricated, your mind has now conditioned. So once you recognize this conditioned nature, now you are holding it, grasping it with effort. There's a sort of a work involved there. There's some kind of a doing involved there. So this doing, working, manipulating, fabricating, formatting, all these things are kind of a burden. All are suffering. Now you again return back to the free state, non-grasping state, non-doing state, non-fabricating state. So this is another method Buddha is recommending there. And the third one, Buddha says, look at it as paticca samuppanna. Understand the sort of a cause and effect relationship. How the free mind became entangled mind. How a free mind became a grasping mind. So there may be a sort of a causal relationship between these two. How the causes and condition made the mind condition, or how the causes and condition made the mind again grasped. So once you clearly know the causes, then you can sort of unentangle the whole knot. Without being entangled, you can clarify everything, you can cleanse everything, you can clean everything, you can unentangle everything. Again, you establish yourself in the freedom. So likewise, many methods Buddha mentioned to free the mind.
Could you please raise your Zoom hand and ask your questions regarding the Dhamma talk or your meditation practices?
So this is one sutta that people are not satisfied. This is one of the sutta. Actually, I haven't come across any other sutta where at the end it is mentioned that the bhikkhus, the monks, were not happy about the sutta. There are many explanations given for that unhappiness. One explanation is that at the end of the sutta, Buddha says, delight is a cause of suffering. So therefore, the monks might have thought we should not get delighted about the teaching. So as a result, they may be maintaining an equanimity without being delighted about the Buddha's teaching. On the other hand, so this sutta actually included even the Nibbana into the explanation. So if someone is so attached to their own views about the Nibbana, when Buddha is talking without grasping Nibbana, you should not grasp Nibbana, you should not conceive Nibbana. So on such terms, when Buddha is directly talking, probably people didn't like it. So therefore, there may be various reasons for that. So now someone has raised the hand, so we can give the chance for him.
I will invite Indira to unmute your mic and ask your question.
Vasudai Bhante.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that whenever now say you are meditating and your mind is in a peaceful condition, and then thoughts come in, and you mentioned that then we look at that thought in a cause and effect way. So does that mean that we look at it because I liked it, or I didn't like that person, or I thought I have a control over that person? Is that the way that you look at it, or how do I look at a thought in a cause and effect way?
Yeah. Say for example, in the very simplified way, suppose you met someone on the way and you had a sort of a discussion with him, and now you come back home, and while now you are engaged in some other activity, at that time immediately sort of a remembering happened about that previous incident. Now, if you haven't met that person before, say about 1 hour ago, 2 hours ago, then if you haven't met him, so these thoughts might not occur. But since you have met him and had a discussion, had a sort of a meeting, now it has conditioned these second thoughts arising at a later time. So simply you can look at it in that angle. Since I have met him, so that's why again and again these thoughts are popping up. So this is the sort of a most proximate cause. And on the other hand, there may be sort of your mind was free. Now kind of a sign of that person, kind of a mental image of that person now appearing in the mind. Now you recognize it. Okay, now this is the sort of image, sort of the sanjanati, the recognition happens. And as a result, now you are attributing a name to this image. Okay, this is so and so. Now you are giving a name to it. Now you are sort of actually this cause and effect relationship and the sankata are fairly go hand in hand. So the sankata basically means the conditioned nature, fabricating nature. Cause and effect actually happens while when we are conditioning it. Because of the ignorance, the conditioning happens. Because of the ignorance, the fabricating happens. Avijja paccaya sankhara. And as a result, now kind of a name and form, the namarupa, now appear in the mind. The mental image appear in the mind. Now we give an emphasis to it. We like it. We give a name to it. Now a vijnana get established. As a result, now namarupa paccaya salayatana, now further sort of enhancement happens. Now you want to further think about him, you want to call him, you want to write a letter to him. So likewise the other ayatana, other faculties also get into the picture. So likewise the whole incident is now growing in this sort of a fashion, in this order where you can find out certain cause and effect relationship. If you are able to look at it very clearly, then you understand the causal nature of this whole thing. As a result, mind does not sort of get deluded by it. Because we get deluded when things are sort of immediately things are happening in a more solid manner and we immediately go and grasp. But if you are able to clearly see this picture, if you are able to clearly see this mechanism, then we not get entangled.
So indirectly, Swaminathan, you are saying that we should have a stopboard with us. Whenever we are going on developing this thought, we should like have a stopboard and say stop, and then you say it's like a dhatu. We look at it in elements or like that. Is it something like that?
Yeah, actually it happens naturally because suppose you are doing Kayanupassana and suppose you do walking meditation, and at the beginning suppose there are millions of thoughts are coming to the mind, but more and more you do practice, the rate of thoughts become less and less. So now suppose previously per minute you get 100 thoughts. Now say per minute you get only say 60 thoughts. After another week, per minute you get 30 thoughts. After another week you get only 10 thoughts. Now you can see one thought after the another thought very clearly. So likewise, so this the mechanism, the thinking patterns, the thinking mechanism become more evident, become more clear to you. When it is coming in very rapid level, very rapid succession, you can't understand because everything appears very connected. What we call as santati ghana. So it's like a chain. But now, say within a minute, only 10 thoughts are arisen. Now you can clearly see these 10 thoughts, one after the other, one coming after the other. There are maybe even gaps in between. Now you can clearly see how one thought has conditioned another thought, how it has conditioned another thought, how you are weaving like a net. Hope you understood.
Yes, and it's very clear, Swami.
Yeah. So more and more the mind become clear, mind become sort of vivid. So now you can actually understand different thoughts vividly, distinctly, and then you can understand how one is conditioning another, how I am adding to it, how I am putting my own likes and dislikes into the picture. I could have sort of simply observe it without adding it. Now you are learning how not to add things. Thoughts may be coming, but you simply watch without putting your hand. Now say for example, give you a simple simile. Now suppose you are on a drama and you are an actor. Now you are playing, you are singing, you are dancing, there are various fellow actors and actresses and you are in a drama. And you, rather than performing like that, you are playing a role, you thought of how you are thinking, why don't I go to the audience and simply watch the drama? And now you stop your own role, you stop your own performance, and you go to the audience. And now you start to watch the drama. Then others are sort of playing the drama, acting, singing, dancing, whatever it is. And you are simply a spectator, you are simply in the audience. You are not an actor anymore. So more and more you are able to look at it. Now you may understand it's a drama. It is not a real thing. It's a fabrication. More you understand it as a fabrication, more you understand it as a drama. So it is less chance for you to get deluded. Now the delusion becomes less and less because you are not in the drama. You are not caught up in the drama. You very well know it is a drama.
Kuludurin, you can submit your questions now. Kuludurin, please unmute your mic and submit your questions.
Yeah.
I am trying to relate something that I heard by Eckhart Tolle. He's written a book called The Power of Now.
Yes.
And have you read it? Perhaps you have, Bhante.
Actually we have, but I haven't read it. But someone has mentioned that sometimes I am also talking very similar to what he is talking.
Yes, Bhante. That is why I was trying to refer to it. He is saying that the power of now is, in other words, the mindfulness of the present moment, because the future is only a thought.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, other than your thought, there is no other future.
Right.
You cannot you don't know what the future is. The past is a memory. So what you have is the present moment, and that is what you have to be consciously aware of.
Yeah.
So this is the premise of his whole book, and he explains it very well, and this is what you have been telling also in most of your Dhamma talks, all of it in fact.
Yeah, actually this is not my my Dhamma, but this is Buddha's teaching, where Buddha has very clearly mentioned, say for example, if you refer Bhaddekaratta Sutta, there are 4 Bhaddekaratta Suttas. Repeatedly Buddha is telling this: Atitang nanvagamiya nappatikanke anagatam Yadatitang pahinantang appattancha anagatam. So Buddha says, don't just follow the past. Don't simply project to the future. Yadatitang pahinantang. Whatever the past has gone, it has finished.
Yes.
Appattancha anagatam. The future hasn't come yet. So basically he clarified the path. So he is simply instructing us. So this past has gone. Future hasn't come yet. So you be vigilant in the present moment and do the vipassana. Paccupannanca yo dhammang tatta tatta vipassati. So whatever the present moment arisen phenomena, then and there you have to clearly see them. You have to clearly observe them. So that is the present moment vipassana, or we can say the present moment observation one has to conduct. So that may give the opportunity for the insights to arise.
That's right. Bhante, one thing, something else that he mentioned was, he said meditation is not necessary. But that I don't quite agree with, I must say. That he says that devoting about few hours a day to your meditation is sufficient gain realization. But do you agree with that?
It depends actually. Basically, for a beginner, now suppose someone is completely deluded. He is completely caught up in the experience. He doesn't know that he is thinking. Rather, he become a victim of thinking. He has caught up in thinking. On such situation, he needs a lot of meditation because he has to train his mind. But more and more he trained his mind. Now mindfulness become his own quality. Now his mind become sort of endowed with mindfulness, and his mind become fairly concentrated, and his fair amount of wisdom is going to arise. Now, in one sense, we can say now he doesn't want say 10 hours meditation, 12 hours meditation. But on the other hand, he become a sort of a constant observer of his own mind. So even though formally he does not sit for long time, but he become a constant observer of his own mind.
Yes. So Bhante, in other words, if you have gained some insights, then it doesn't mean that you have to meditate all the time if you are mindful during your working hours, daily hours, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, I can't simply agree with that, because you need some seclusion as well. Now, if you are trying to completely avoid from sort of your own practice and try to develop everything merely by day-to-day activities and try to get all the insights, it's very hard, because while engaged with so many activities, still you may have to look at your own mind, true. But how are you gaining that clarity of mind? So this clarity this clarity of mind doesn't come automatically. So you need some amount of homework, some amount of your own practice in order to prepare this. So this preparation definitely needs fair amount of practice. And on the other hand, so while dealing with others, you might even get confused. You might even your concentration even might get deteriorated. Again, you have to recharge yourself. On such situation, you need your own secluded practice as well.
Yes. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Next opportunity to honor. You can unmute your mic and submit your question.
Yeah.
Once the mind becomes non-grasping and non-entangled free state, basically I think it is free of hindrances. Where we can, I think that's where we can do Dhammanupassana, which we can see more into the mind. So how do we proceed from there? How do we do further meditation? Like everything is calm and quiet, and you don't have any pains, anything, and so basically free. It's a free state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
How do we proceed from there?
No, actually, this free state of mind not only available in the Dhammanupassana level, even at the Kayanupassana level, it is possible. Even in the Vedananupassana level, it is possible. Even in the Chittanupassana level, it is possible. Now, if you refer Satipatthana Sutta, each and every Kamatahana appearing in Kayanupassana. So there Buddha says, Anissitocha viharati natakinchiloke upaditi. He is telling it after Anapanasati. He is talking it after the Iriyapata, that is the postures. He is talking it after the Dhatu Manasikara. Now all are actually at the level of Kayanupassana. And again he is referring the same understanding or same insights at the Vedananupassana as well. And again at the Chittanupassana as well. So therefore it is the thing is that one may prefer Kayanupassana for a long time. Another may prefer Vedananupassana for a long time. Another may prefer Chittanupassana for a long time. So based on his own practice, own preferences, where this sort of a freedom happen may depend. So if one engage in Kayanupassana for long time, definitely his mind may come into this sort of a freedom while engaged in Kayanupassana. Suppose someone engage in Kayanupassana for a certain period, but later he switched to Vedananupassana. Now he is involving more and more in Vedananupassana. Probably now the freedom can occur while he is engaged in Vedananupassana. Similarly, suppose another person, he engaged in Kayanupassana for some period, another time for during the Vedananupassana, and now he switched to Chittanupassana. Now he is watching the mind. And while watching the mind, the freedom also can happen. So likewise, the freedom can happen at any anupassana. So, and once this freedom has happened, any of these anupassana can be used. So none of them are inferior to another. Everything, each anupassana is so powerful. So, and what you need to do is more and more practicing it, more and more using it at any other given time. Say you are now maybe in the most of the time you may be watching the mind, but when mind go and grasp, so the grasping might happen to a rupa. You have seen something, and now the grasping might have happened to that seen object, the sight. On that occasion, probably you can use many techniques. Maybe immediately you can look at it, you can understand the mind itself, and you can sort of free your mind. On the other hand, you can even watch your body. How this sort of a grasping, how your sort of body becomes somewhat tensed. How you have lost your sort of calmness. Now say for example, you have seen something, as a result you become angry. Now you can watch the anger in the mind, that is one object, one way. Another way is you can watch the repercussions of anger. So what are the bodily changes because of this anger? So many techniques are there.
So Hamdulani, the Kayanupassana, when we do Kayanupassana, basically it leads to Vedananupassana, right? Because when we watch the body,
yeah,
then we feel, right? Feel means it's Vedananupassana. So so once when we basically it's Kayanupassana, but it leads, the way that I understand is it leads to Vedananupassana, so that we can see the body, all these Janjana component things. So that in one actually it's kind of a vipassana, that we can see the body, we can see all these Chanchala Kampana and all these movements in the body.
Yeah.
So is it itself a Dhammanupassana?
Actually, Chanchala Kampana, the vibrations and all these movements are still, now it is the way of looking at it. Now say for example, when you are able to recognize vibration as vibration, when you are able to recognize movement as movement, still you are in the Kayanupassana level. But on the other hand, now you can see the feeling tone of it. Now, is this vibration making sort of pleasurable feeling, or is it a sort of a painful feeling, or is it a neutral feeling? Now you are giving prominence to the feeling tone. At that time, now you are in the Vedananupassana. Actually, all these, whatever the incident, have all combination of aggregates. But which aggregate are we giving the prominence? That is where the Anupassana is separated. So at the beginning, probably we may be giving emphasis to the Rupa, Kayanupassana, and maybe later we may be switching to the feeling tone. Then we are in the Vedananupassana. And on the other hand, suppose it is happening, but at the same time you may be watching the mind. So what is the sanya, the perception in the mind? What is are there any thoughts arising in the mind? So likewise, the same incident, but how we are analyzing it, how we are looking at it, differs according to the anupassana.
I think I understood it. I have another question, Hamdulillah.
Yeah.
How do we know that our sati is improving? How do we know that?
Yeah. Say for example, you do walking meditation. So in the first week, suppose you could keep only 5 steps mindfully. Next week, now you can mindfully keep 10 steps. Another week, now you can keep 15 steps mindfully. Now you can, if you look back and you can understand, okay, I mean compared to the previous week, now there's an improvement. Previously there was so much of thinking, proliferation and daydreaming, distractions were there, but now less distractions. And even if mind distracted, it does not stay there for a long time. It immediately comes back, it immediately returns back. So this is an improvement. So likewise, you yourself can understand if there is an improvement in mindfulness, so comparatively you can understand.
So if we can keep the mind even like not a sitting meditation or walking meditation, even when we do like day-to-day things, if you can keep your mind into your body, like to a feeling or to any sensation, is that the side to sati?
Yeah, definitely. So that's where the sampajanya, where Buddha enhances the mindfulness. I mean, you may start it with anapanasati or 4 postures, but later you are invited to expand it to various day-to-day activities. While walking, you can be mindful. While standing, you can be mindful. While lying down, you can be mindful. While eating, you can be mindful. While talking, you can be mindful. While, say, wearing clothes, you can be mindful. While driving, you can be mindful. While talking with another person, you can be mindful. You can mindfully listen. So likewise, all the day-to-day activities can be sort of combined with mindfulness.
So okay, let's say that when we are eating, we put the attention to eating, but still if you feel your body feeling, just to put your mind in body feeling, which one is the better, to concentrate on your eating or putting your mind onto your body feeling?
That's why, I mean, it depends on which one is more prominent. Yes. Say if you feel that I am feeling happy, I am feeling a sort of a pleasurable feeling because of this eating. Maybe you are now looking at in the feeling tone. But on the other hand, suppose you are keeping your attention on the taste. Various things are put into the mouth. Now you are observing the taste. The saliva is coming. The taste is there. The swallowing is happening. So you are now keeping your attention to all these sensations. So likewise, there are many methods available, and everything is actually fine. I mean, you don't need to think. Okay, keeping it in the feeling tone is much advanced than keeping in the kayanupassana. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. Rather, each and every anupassana is equally potential.
Okay. And I have one more question, Hamdulillah.
Yeah.
If you feel the body, your sensation, if you feel it pleasurable, to keep that, to feel it, is it good, or you have to get rid of that?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Okay, so let's say that you feel the. Can you hear me? Because it's something changed.
No, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. So let's say that you feel your body feelings and it's pleasurable, and then you keep doing it. Is it good or is it bad?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, if you are able to see the pleasurable feeling as pleasurable feeling, so you can, that indicates you are mindful about the pleasurable feeling. Now the difference is, typically when there are pleasurable feelings, we go and grasp it. We go and we want to hold it. We want to own it. I want to have it more. So that is the typical nature. That is the grasping. That happens due to craving. But on the other hand, if you are able to detach from pleasurable feeling and you are able to look at pleasurable feeling as a pleasurable feeling, now you are not get caught to pleasurable feeling, rather you are looking at pleasurable feeling objectively.
Okay. I understood how to
Yeah.
be.
Okay. Now painful feeling also the same. Rather than trying to get rid of it, you look at it objectively. This is a painful feeling.
Yeah.
You are making a sort of a distance between your observation and the object.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bhante, there's another question in the chat. No?
Yeah.
Bhante, can you explain Dhammanupassana?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, in Dhammanupassana, you can revisit all other anupassanas as well. Say, for example, in Dhammanupassana, there are 5 sections included. The first section dealing with the hindrances, where you are observing the mind and recognize the hindrances. And on the other hand, then the Bojjhanga, where you are observing the various enlightenment factors, such as mindfulness, investigation, effort, etc. Now you are recognizing the presence of those enlightenment factors. And then the other section is related to the ayatana, or what you call the sense bases. When we are seeing something, you are clearly recognizing, so so rather than I am seeing it, you see it as a seeing, sort of an incident. And at the same time, probably there is a possibility of arising a fetter, arising a sanyojana, arising a sort of a defilement, and you clearly see that as well. So day-to-day activities, you are seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, sensing or cognizing, everything is happening. At the same time, you are clearly able to see the the produced defilement as well. If there are any defilement, if there are any thoughts arising because of this sense impingement, you are able to clearly see it. So that is where the Dhammanupassana, the Ayatana Pabbha. Now there you can see some amount of Kanupassana is involved, some amount of Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana is involved. And again, when it comes to the what you call the Khanda Pabbha, where you see how a Rupa is arising and then pass away, how a Vedana arising and pass away, how a thought arising and pass away. So likewise, all Khandas, how they are conditioning, how they are appearing because of the causes, and then how they are passing away. And ultimately you can put it to the Four Noble Truths and how suffering happens. And you have to clearly see the suffering, you have to clearly recognize suffering. And once you recognize it, then you can understand the cause of suffering. And then you can let go of the cause of suffering. And as a result, the mind becomes free. So likewise, Dhammanupassana has 5 sections. And it actually revisit all khandas. So we'll try to take, say, Satipatthana Sutta as another session, so that we can further understand about all this information. Because Satipatthana Sutta is the one giving very clear understanding about our practice. So we'll try to take that as the maybe the next sutta or for the discussion. So it seems there are no any other questions. Yeah.
Bhante, can I just ask you one small query?
Fine.
From the previous question, please?
Fine.
Thank you, Bhante. It's just that once we get into this very samadhi, where there are minimal thoughts and the body is very peaceful, then we can even watch our breath as as rising and passing away as impermanent.
Sure, definitely.
And also the feelings, you get those, as the lady previously said, all those vibrations and pleasurable feelings, those come in waves and go. So what I do is, tell me if I'm doing it incorrectly, that when I watch them arising and passing away, Bhante, because
definitely.
they come in waves anyway.
Correct.
So is that correct, Bhante?
Correct, because now at the beginning for us it is a inhale, exhale, asvasa, pasvasa. But later, now it has now the labels are dropped. Now you can look at how a kind of a sensation happens, how a sensation arises and how a sensation passes away, how a sort of a heat arises and how heat passes away, how a cold sensation, coolness happen, how coolness pass away. So likewise, even the breathing experience, you can look at it in a different angle.
So from that, I sort of, in my mind, I think I see impermanence. Is that correct, Bhante? Because I see it coming and going.
Yeah.
So so that is what the Buddha was talking about, impermanence. Is that correct, Bhante?
So actually, one level, now say for example, if you see, now there is a house. Now someone has built it. And after 50 years, it has collapsed. Now, it's also impermanent. But that is only to the conventional level. So this is not enough.
Yes.
And then suppose you are taking more refined object like breath.
Yes.
Say breath. Now you are giving another name when you are giving a name to in-breath, the incoming thing as in-breath and outgoing thing as out-breath. And there also you can say the beginning of in-breath and the end of in-breath. Now you can say it is also impermanent. This is another level. But you have to go to even further levels if possible. Now even though in-breath appear as single, later once your mindfulness has refined, probably you might have seen as several in-breaths are there. Sort of a broken in-breaths.
Yes.
So you have minute in-breaths, say 10 in-breaths are there, ultimately it represents as a single in-breath. Now you can see even this minute in-breath has arising and passing away. Now you can see the understanding refines actually. So it becomes further refines and it becomes more sharp. So now this is how the clear comprehension is improving. So it's a sort of thin slicing of time is coming to the picture. So you are able to very distinctly see how this impermanent nature becomes so transient. It does not take long time to become impermanent. It's so transient. It is so momentary.
And also with the feelings, Bhante, because
definitely, yes.
You can see that arising and passing away. I mean, because it's not just one bit of feeling that arises and passes away.
Yeah.
It has a different sort of waves. So
correct.
Is also, you can think of the impermanence.
Yes. Actually, you are not thinking about it. You are observing it, and then they are showing their impermanence.
Because we can see it, Bhante, because we are experiencing it.
Yes, that they are showing it. We are seeing it.
Yes. So that is correct. That is. Just wanted to just get your verification that is the correct way to go about it.
Exactly. You are not trying to impose impermanent. Rather you are mindfully, impartially, and sort of equanimously you are looking at it. Observing.
We are like
exactly.
an observer.
Exactly. We are simply observing, and they are showing their true nature.
Yes.
So that's right.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Yeah, welcome. So then we'll wind up the session. I think we have discussed almost 1.5 hours. So thank you very much for active participation, and we'll share the merits and we'll just to wind up the session. Ettavataca amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavataca amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. එත්තාවතාචම් හේහි සම්බතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ සත්තා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පatti සිද්ධියා ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ශාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු දේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු මම් පරං ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා සාදු සාදු සාදු